Hi, this is Dr. Kelly again, back with part 2 of cholesterol. We're going to talk about a concept called oxidation and then discuss why cholesterol is so critical to us in our food every day. First of all, the concept of oxidizing is really something that you and I are all doing every single day. We oxidize as a normal function of taking a breath in and releasing breath, but there are stressors that expedite this oxidation process, such as injury and challenges in our career, environmental toxins. Too much exercise becomes a challenge with regard to increasing oxidation, emotional upheaval, illnesses, all of those things oxidize the body. And we know that how to reverse that is to reduce those stressors and to make sure that we're eating foods that bring in antioxidants, such as fruits and vegetables, coffee, red wine, a little bit of dark chocolate. Another way of referring to oxidation is called rusting. Basically, oxygen comes with two electrons, and when you oxidize, one of those electrons gets bumped off. Now, all of a sudden, that oxygen molecule becomes very nervous and wants to agitate other molecules to get their electrons, and that process results in inflammation and further oxidation. And from a perspective of day-to-day living, it means that we're aging faster and that we're going to stay in pain longer. People don't recognize that how you can get out of pain is actually to eat yourself out of pain, to provide your body with more antioxidants. When we're bringing this up, because in the last section we talked about how the low-density lipoproteins typically are considered bad in our culture. And in actual fact, much like the high-density lipoproteins, the low-density lipoproteins that carry cholesterol have a very important function in our body. And what makes them problematic, sadly, is that they are subject to easy oxidation. And if you and I are not providing enough fruits and vegetables to reverse that oxidation, the LDL does in fact become a true troublemaker and starts to impact the cell walls, contributing to heart disease. So in essence, we're making the LDLs bad actors by our food. They in and of themselves are not bad molecules. The bottom line is we need to be responsible. And when we take a look at that word, it's the ability to respond. And that is why you're watching these webinars, so you know exactly what to do to reverse some of these challenges. Let's talk about why cholesterol is so critical. Some of you may think cholesterol is a bad thing because there's so much conversation about it, with statins being the #1 prescribed medication. But cholesterol is critical for making our cell membranes. And some biologists feel today that the cell membrane, the collective of all the cell membranes, is really what helps constitute our brain, that they are very important thinking organelles. The other thing that the cholesterol does is it makes myelin. It is that insulation, if you will, around a nerve that allows that nerve to send a message from one cell to its endpoint without disruption. Without proper myelination, you get short-circuiting, and that can result in a number of neurodegenerative challenges, including anxiety and depression. And then moreover, cholesterol is critical for making hormones. While nerves send information electrically, the hormones carry messages that go through the vascular system. And so the cholesterol is very critical for making hormones that you're aware of, such as estrogen, testosterone, and participates in vitamin D, also a critical vitamin, also really referred to as a hormone. The sad truth about cholesterol is that when we do too much to reduce cholesterol, we become challenged mentally. Cholesterol is a fat, and our brain is 60% fat, and 25% of all your cholesterol in the body is actually in your nervous system. And when they first brought out statins many years ago, the dosing was way too high, and they found this huge rise in suicide, particularly in younger people and people in the early 20s who had not completely finished myelinating. And so there was a lot of short-circuiting, if you will, resulting in anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideation, resulting in actually people taking their lives. So it's very critical that we not take too many statins and that we try to do our level best to normalize our cholesterol through diet and exercise. Of interest, the functional medicine doctors feel strongly that cholesterol won't even be anything we measure, and that in actual fact, in 5 years or so, we will be focused on measuring criteria that determines your amount of inflammation, like C-reactive protein and some of these other things, because cholesterol is a normal part of our physiology. So, to be sure, you need cholesterol. How you would reduce it if your cholesterol levels are high is, first of all, remember that scenario that when you eat too much sugar, it causes irritation into the intima of the arterial walls, and they grab up the cholesterol. And then your liver makes more cholesterol because your body's asking for it, and it might be that particular day you get your blood drawn and your cholesterol looks high. The key there would be to reduce your sugar and make your arterial walls healthier, so the cholesterol that's made in the liver can get to where it's going without the liver feeling like it needs to make more because it never got to its intended destination. Start always with exercise. Anything with exercise is going to influence favorably arterial walls and cardiovascular function, and certainly eat clean foods. So there you have some really good information about cholesterol. And the next section, we're going to talk about dairy. Some of you may not want to watch that because they don't want to hear bad news, but I will tell you there's actually some good news in that conversation. So stay tuned.